Oh dear, oh my, oh crap, oh shit. Another year down. Let's talk about it. Let's go around the room. Let's break the year down, shall we? So, first off, year in review. Holy shit. We all know about 2020. We all know what was going down. We all know that some people... you want to talk about a shit show. This year saw many, many deaths. It saw a rampant flow of a new virus, which did no favors for anybody, quite frankly. It almost seems to have fucking divided the human race. And on top of what already was a problem in terms of people feeling one way about it and then people feeling another way about it, the political things that stacked up at the same time that this was going on turned this into the kind of debate that we simply did not need this year. It affected everything, and it has been stressful. Badly so. And then on top of that, we got car bombs going off. And of course, every year celebrities die and people say, oh, it's the worst year ever and blah, blah, blah. This year was pretty bad in all actuality with celebrity deaths and real deaths. And it was tough. It was a tough year, man. This was stressful. Some people lost family members. Some people suffered Stockholm syndrome, basically. Like just being stuck in your house and there's nowhere to go and everything is closed and small businesses are suffering, and every time you turn around there's some sort of political view stuffed in your face, and then the presidential debates, and then the election, and then the whole Trump-Biden problem in general. And I'm not getting into what side I am on or yada yada whatever. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to say that I more than understand that this year was a straight up kick in the dick. But we found our own things. The Sentai review went pretty strong. It didn't stop. We had to switch to Discord a couple of times when we had some scares amongst the group, sometimes mostly me. I got a kid that goes back and forth to a school building and whatnot, and constantly, that was a thing, okay? That was the thing that we dealt with this year, and we dealt with it. We dealt with it pretty well, I would say, and I honestly believe that we dealt with it pretty well. I finally got around to talking about Gundam this year. I ran the channel. Look, I gotta take the little things that I can get out of this year, and I gotta take what I can get in general, because look, that's the way it is. I had a decent year in gaming this year. I did. I switched to my computer, I started buying things that way, and it worked out pretty damn well. I have a shit ton of games. Like an outrageous amount of games, like 191 games, and I only ever dropped $20 at a time here and there. I mean, that's no small feat by itself, right? That's a crazy amount of games. That's more games than I can play, literally. Which is also something to talk about in general. So look, the show ran strong. We took our normal break. I don't feel like we missed a lot of episodes, or I don't know if we missed a single episode this year. We got through some of the series reviews. We started talking to a lot more people. We started getting easier development interactions and whatnot with fans, where we're actually being sent pictures by the folders now, and we're actually able to do the show that way. We got my Discord up off the ground and fully running. For some reason, the Fandom Night one never took off. I don't know why that was. I really don't know what happened there. I did the shelves. I broke the room down. We got new stuff. We got rid of some stuff. My show actually ran all year round, it seems. Like, it did really good this year. I talked about Pokemon, and I talked about all kinds of fandoms. Like I said, I finally got to talk about Gundam. I had some Star Trek conversations. Like, it's been rough. It's been a rough year, but it's been a decent one in terms of what I was able to accomplish. Because for everything that hit this year, I had to take it as a time to focus on myself. I had to do the show. I had to develop my stuff. I had to really stop and think about what kind of money I was spending and what I was doing and what matters to me and what doesn't matter to me and so on and so forth. And it was a worthwhile time to do such a thing. And it led me to certain ideas that are going to incorporate into next year. Some decent ideas, really. Like, I want to keep track of my gaming. That's one thing that I would definitely like to do. I would like to do, each time I start a game, I'm going to add it to a list. And if I finish that game, then it gets the check mark. If I don't finish that game, then it doesn't get the check mark. And whenever I buy a game, it's also going to go onto that list, and it's going to have a price tag next to it. Then, at the end, I will discuss whether or not it was worth that money or not worth that money. So this will keep me an idea as to how much I spend a year in gaming, and whether it's actually worth it or not, and how much time I'm actually spending getting something out of what I spend in general. I actually don't hate this idea, and I tried to make it a podcast years ago, and for some reason it didn't take. So I'm going to do it myself. Why not? I tested some stuff out this year, too. I tested some formats. I did this, of course. I got a new webcam, which is way better than the old shit I was using. This is not the first time in terms of this mic. This is a couple years old now. But that's went over really well. Sound was better on the show this year. I truly believe it. Thought I heard something. My daughter was talking to the new dog. That's another thing. Got a new dog. This year was crazy. Normally I have notes for this, like a kind of idea of what I feel like really went down this year, and normally there's a lot to talk about with the show, but this time, the show has calmed down quite a bit. There's things I talk about all the time, things that I wish that we were still doing, things that we simply don't do anymore, and you know what? We just don't do them. The gaming podcast, I don't know. I don't think it's coming back. I think if I'm going to do something, it's going to be on here. We had one show this year. One. The Sentai Review. We didn't really do any what's-ups. We didn't do any Fandom Night stuff. We just kind of bled into the Sentai Review, dropping everything into that one channel. And I don't mean that it got video game conversations. It got, like, in the middle of reviewing a Sentai, we just drop into fandom conversations that used to go on other shows. We talk about Star Wars because we're talking about Power Rangers, and somehow that leads us there. So it's caused a bit of a problem with that show to not have the other channels, to not have the other shows. It's not happening. I don't see it happening. We have this show now. I have mine, Seth has his, Scott has his, and we have the Sentai Review. And that's it. And I don't see anything coming to that. Anything else, it's going to be the Sentai Review. I really don't see that there's anything else coming down the pipeline. So that means there's things that I'm going to cover here that are going to be my own stuff. I'm going to talk about, I picked up an entire set of Pokemon games. Every single one of them reproduction carts. Why? Because I have Pokemon Silver and Gold and Crystal, and all three of them, their batteries are dead. But I got this idea. Maybe I pick up the reproduction cart. Maybe it works. I never got to play green. I picked up the reproduction cart. Cool. I have red, and strangely enough, red still holds a save. I don't think I had a blue copy. Now I kind of do. I'm not oblivious to the fact that they're fake games. Well, fake, they're real games. But you get the idea. I picked them up. I'll talk about them. I will. I'll talk about some of the games that I'm playing. I'll try to make the streaming thing a little more normal. That I actually come in, do some streams, talk about what's going on, engage with fans and whatnot. Maybe it's a good idea. Right now I'm playing Black Desert Online. Maybe it's a good idea to kind of get into crafting and whatnot, so that I have something that's somewhat mindless that I can kind of hang out when I'm talking to people or whatever. Look, guys, the year was what it was. It was a shit show. And the only thing I could tell you or tell myself is that we have to find the good in what we were able to dig out of it. We had a lot of time to look at our own lives, to look at ourselves, to develop ourselves. This was a year of solitude almost. And though I'm sure a lot of us did have a lot of friends, we talked to friends, we had FaceTime stuff and everything else. And of course, because social media, none of us are ever fucking removed, which is a problem. It is a problem sometimes. Like, it's hard to spend time, like, alone now. It really is, because there's always your fucking phone going off or something like that, or Facebook wants to know something, and then you're, like, I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitter, so I get both sides being like, and it's like fans talk to you, and that's cool, and then some people... Like, you get stuck in all the political debates and people crying about their lives, and I get it, but, like, we got all our own problems, too, and then you're on there, and social media is a drag if you're on it too much, and I really feel like I was on it way, way, way more than I ever have been any year in my entire frickin' life. And I felt the impact of it. I felt it fucking hit me like a truck. But like I said, in the times that I was able to dig away, I read some books, some books. I started catching back up on my comics. I did the show. We did the Sentai review. We kept things moving. This room is under construction now in a good way. It gave me a chance to look back at some of the things that I wanted to get done and actually start getting them done. There's, like, I skipped out on something that was huge to everybody else, like the PlayStation 5 and Xbox. All that drama is your drama. It's your shit. I don't give a fuck. I don't want a PlayStation 5. Maybe 2, 3, 4 years from now, if the price comes down, maybe. But then, chances are, no. Because I'll probably take that $500, $600, $700 and I'll pump it into another card and put it in this computer that I'm using right here. And you know what? Might be the better way to go. It might be. It's not that I'm trying to 100% go pro computer here. I'm really not. I know it seems that way off and on this year. But like... it sure has saved me a lot of fucking money and time and headache. Created some headache. It certainly created some headache. Look, all this fucking PC Master Race bullshit, you guys can eat shit. You guys can eat shit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's not a fucking Master Race. It's just, if you're using it for gaming, it's just another form of gaming, and it comes with every bit. It comes with more problems. It comes with more problems. I wanted to play KOTOR this year. Ouch! I played Dragon Age. That's currently what I'm playing right now. And boy has that game crashed over and over and over again. It seems like the older a game is, the more chances that you can't play it anymore. Not without going out of your way. Like, I got Dragon Age. It crashed like 5 fucking times. I had to go find a mod that specifically didn't alter the game at all. except for it made it run. I shouldn't have to fucking do that. I shouldn't. I go downstairs right now, I put Dragon Age in the Xbox, I play it, it fucking works. That is what keeps people in consoles. It is exactly what keeps people in consoles. PC. In terms of gaming, this year, I have felt was way better for me. It was way better for me than anything I did on the console. And it wasn't just because I was focusing on the PC. It was better. I'm telling you guys, like things like Humble Bundle and the Steam sales, I've picked up over 188 games. I looked at it last night. It was like 212 games. And I know that most all of that was accumulated when I switched to PC this year. And like, I spend like $25 on Humble Bundle and I pick up like 17 games. And yes, some of those games I'm never going to play. I'm not oblivious to that at all. But some of those games, a good, hefty portion of those games, I'm definitely going to play. My list, my gaming list rose ridiculously this year. And then, like, games that you get for free. I know that PlayStation is like, here's some free games. But that's not free. You're paying for that service. And should that service go away, you can't access that game. We can make the same argument for Steam. Okay. But can we? Because I don't always need the Steam client to run some of these games. That's another truth of it too. Once I download it, it's mine. One of the cool things that I've realized in terms of this year when I have been on my PC is that like, I don't pay anything for Steam. That's what I'm trying to say. I pay for the internet, okay? You have to do that as well with your console. But then you have to pay for this fucking fake paywall. It's a fake fucking paywall. It's fucking fake. There's no reason that the PlayStation Network should be charging you, and there's definitely no reason the PlayStation Network should be charging you when your information is way the fuck out there in the open. PlayStation market has been hacked so many fucking times, it's extraordinary. In fact, our buddy Shane got hacked this fucking year, and boy did they run his credit card up. Holy shit. Did they run the fuck out of his finances. And now he has to go through a whole thing to get it fucking cleared up and get it proved that it's not his. And they canceled his fucking PlayStation account. And he's got it. It's a fucking nightmare. There are problems on both sides. This one problem, I got Injustice this year for free. I got the original Tomb Raider this year for free. I'm not looking at the list, so I can't tell you exactly everything that I got. But I picked up relatively 12 different games this year, all for free. And I played games like ESO for free. And I played games like Neverwinter this year for free. And I did it over and over and over again, where Neverwinter on the PlayStation, no, it wasn't just get it for free. I had to sign up to the PlayStation Network. Well, no, I don't think I had to have Plus. Some of those games, they're free. But like when PlayStation gives me a game like Call of Duty and then my PlayStation Plus expires, I lost the game. In my experience, I did. I don't know what happened on your side, but I remember when I lost PlayStation Plus and I was sitting down with my buddies and they were like, hey, dude, we're going to get on this game. We're going to play this game. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to play that game. And then I got on and I'm like, fuck. Hold on, I got to re-up my PlayStation subscription. Well, I don't have to do that on the fucking PC. If the internet works, fuck, there we go. We're fucking ready to game. So that fucking paywall shit irritates me. And it's multiple things. It is the nature of it, but there's different beasts. Because coming over to PC, I can't tell you how many old games I wanted to play that I'd have been better just going downstairs. I will say that Dragon Age looks fucking great on my computer. It don't look too great when I went back downstairs and put it in the Xbox 360. It looks, it don't look too great. But with things like mods and whatnot, I played Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 this year on my PC. And I ran it at pretty much the max settings. There was very little things that were turned down, and they were more like preference. Like, I don't like screen blur and shit like that. I turn those options off. I don't like those effects. But that's another thing that I found with gaming on my PC this year that was definitely different, was getting to choose how I want games to work. I chose when I wanted the keyboard and mouse. I chose when I wanted the controller. I chose what I wanted the layout of the controller to be. I chose what controller I wanted it to be. Sometimes I brought my Xbox controller up here. Sometimes I brought my PlayStation controller up here. And sometimes, a good portion of the time, I found that I actually like to use the Nintendo controller. More than any other controller I've noticed. Let's see if we can... Woo! There we go. So... there were good sides and downsides. Like I said, built the shelf. I'm running in circles here. So let's go ahead and do the room tour and show you what it looks like this year and how much we're actually looking to change it. So I'm going to switch to the camera on the phone now, so audio will change and yada yada. But let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Okay, so here we are. First off, there's the clock. That, yes, we decided to put the clock up there. You'll notice that. That's going to be fixed. This is getting all new trim. That's the reason the door looks like that. So that's what I mean about going over things that I didn't go over last year and actually focusing on certain things. This is part of those certain things. Let's pull the camera back a bit here. Oh, that was way too... that wasn't what I was looking for. Here we go. Let's pull the camera back. Okay, remember we talked about this? There it is. It's pretty cool. It's a light switch. It's not a big deal. These, I'm going to cover up. I'm going to because these are cut out, and then this is the only thing that he actually put here when I bought the house. But that's something that I can fix fairly easily. In fact, a good portion of the room will be repainted probably next year. And so, yes, this is everything that I'm putting in stone will basically be taken off the walls and put right back on the walls. But that's the nature of things. Look, guys, this here, we're going to do something with these weapons. These weapons, which I've all pretty much relegated to the closet now, they're going to be hung up over here. And the idea is that I'm going to buy mounts, like guitar mounts, like here and here and here, and these weapons are going to hang up on the wall, and I may do it over here too. So let's talk a little bit about the nightmare here that this project has been, and both the good thing that this project has been. One, we haven't even gotten to stuff like this. We haven't even started talking about what's on the walls or anything like that in terms of this. We're just trying to get items on the shelf. That's one stack of books. It's one stack of books. There's a chair. There's my little step stool so that I can get up there. This, I don't know if anybody ever seen this, but that was a couple of years ago when I actually met him. And I actually got a picture with Jason David Frank. That was cool. This is a slow project. It's a slow burn, but it's getting there, and the shelves are starting to fill up little bit by little bit. There's still a lot to do, though. There's still a lot to do. These lights, I'm only getting them 3 at a time, and I plan to make a trip out next paycheck to get another 3, and we'll probably light that shelf over there, and then I'll get another 3, and we'll light that shelf, and then we'll start actually filling it up, and so on and so forth. I got bored, and I had a couple of damaged comics, so I tore them apart, and I made like a collage image. We're getting all this stuff done down here. Books are slowly going to go down there, and what I'm going to do with this floor is I'm actually going to get a type of, just another type of board, just like we have right here, and I'm just going to put it across the floor to flatten the floor out so the books have something flat to sit on that actually cover almost like my own type of runner system, where books, I'm hoping I get it all the way across the back wall type of thing by the time I'm done. So I need about 2 more of these boards. And that's my idea with that. It's a mess still. It's a mess. It's a slow series of events that are putting this room together. The year tour is not that big of a thing this year because there's not that much going on this year. As you can see, this is a mess over here. It's just the way it is right now. And there's comics that are still being sorted, and there's directions and whatnot, and But there's a lot more that has to go in here, because you're noticing that the room is not put together, and yet it's still kind of barren. So I'm going to take you and show you a couple of the other projects when this was torn apart, some other stuff that I did that stored the items that still need to come back in here. Okay, so when you tear the room apart, you have to put shit somewhere. So that's what ended up happening with this. It ended up that all this stuff ended up here, and then it's kind of just sprawled across. He's been broken for years. I hope to fix him. Godzilla, some of this stuff, some of the Rangers, things like that. I built these 2 shelves a while back, and then there's no mirror or anything on this dresser, so I decided to utilize them when I was putting things together, and now a lot of this stuff is going to stay in here because it can, because my wife has her own stuff and my dog has something. So let's get whatever my dog has. What do you have? What do you have? What are you eating? Of course, that's what you have. Of course you have my Soul Eater case. Of course you do. Give me this. No, Lexi. No. So we moved this in here in my room and whatnot, and the whole idea is that this, once I get everything off of it, once all this and whatnot come off of it and go into the room, a lot of this stuff is going to stay in here because that's her stuff now. Always was her stuff, to be fair. This is the only reason this stuff was bought, was because it was bought for her. And now, because of the shelves that were placed up here, because like I said, I built these 2 shelves a long time ago, and we had no purpose for the shelves. Then I got to thinking about it, and because there's no mirror on our dresser, but we have one of those big old dressers, I put the shelves on there and screwed them down to the dresser, and now there's this shelving unit, this mass shelving unit, which allows for her to keep all her collectibles in a certain spot too, and that is my Coke Bear. I still have that. I love this thing. Let's look at the next part, because as we go out into the hallway here, we're going to find this. Now, this is where a lot of the stuff is. This is going to be the longest haul of stuff. This is all random figures, Rangers, Standers, things like that. Weapons, games, cords. It's just a mass of confusion, okay? And that little area right there is going to be a pain in the ass, but all of it's got to come back into the room. Let's go look at the last 2 things that were set up that cleared this room out. Okay, so upon moving every book out of that room, I came down here to the living room and I set this up, and the ships came down here, and then this entire bookshelf was put up to house books and some Star Trek, which is still going to go back upstairs and whatnot, so we can put more books on the shelf. And there's 2 more areas that were created while this whole thing went down. This area right here was created when all the games had to find a home. So there's a more retro shelf right here, and then there's all the more, I should say, it's almost retro as well now, because there's PS4, but most of it is Xbox, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1. But yeah, that's the Bullet Bill. He comes out of the wall. He's cool. Of course, Leia's been up there for years now, if you've been around. And there's one more spot, which I built this year when I was tearing that room apart. So while I was tearing the room apart, it became necessary to figure out how I was going to get all that shelf space that I was going to need. And this became exactly how we decided to do it. Now see, this closet was one of those everyday fucking closets. Sliding door, everything. The closet in there was originally just supposed to hang coats. And truthfully, we have a mud room where we hang the coats. So this closet was pretty much unused for literally the entire time that we've been here. Even some of the stuff that was put in here we forgot about. And it has this light. So I got the idea, and I came in here, and I built these shelves all the way up to the ceiling, which is the reason for the actual step stool. That's why the step stool is there. So we have all Ranger stuff up there. We have anime on this side. we have Star Wars on this side, and then slowly but surely I've been alphabetizing every single one of the movies that I own and getting them on this shelf all the way down to the floor. And now I'm going to show you all this, and you're going to say, holy crap, Bill, what's with all that? Of course your dog got a hold of those things. Well, yes, that's partially my fault that the dog got a hold of that stuff. So look, we're going to shut this, because that's another reason for that, is that this is what it looks like. Well, actually, this is supposed to be the part that was supposed to be closed. It works, okay? This is cool, because at any time I can come over and I can be interested in a movie, and I can just slide the door open, flick the light on, and get any movie that I want. This is the reason I built this, and it cleared up the space that created the area for the gaming shelf, and the dog is already... Get out of here! Get out of here! Yes, you. Yes, you, Lexi. Go. Go. So switching back to this setup up here, why did I show you the floor there? Why is the floor such a mess? The idea was that as I put the movies up there, I started to realize that all these cardboard sleeves that to me serve no real purpose, all they do is take up a little bit more of the shelf. And I proved this to myself. I know this doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're collecting DVDs, when you're doing something like that, this can be a huge deal. I started pulling those cardboard sleeves off and tossing them on the floor. There's two ideas here. One, I found out that the amount of space that those cardboard sleeves take for the length of that closet, I can get anywhere from 5 normal DVDs extra on a shelf. And in Blu-ray case, I can get nearly 10 extra Blu-rays on a shelf if I just pull those cardboard sleeves off. They don't seem like they take a lot of space, but you start smashing them up together across an entire distance like that, and all of a sudden you have this much cardboard. Well, I thought of something to do with all these cardboard sleeves that serve no purpose, and that's part of what I'm working on down there right now. I'm going to take and I'm going to cut those out so that the fronts are right there, and of course the backs as well. And my idea is to put them all down on a type of, almost like a type of wallpaper. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to line the inside of that closet with them. So it's going to be on the sides there, and then if you turn around, there's another space that behind that, because you can get in that closet. It doesn't seem like you could, but that closet, you can literally get inside there. I can get inside there and literally shut the door and still have enough space to where I could put the step stool down, and I could sit in there and I could read if I really wanted to. It's that big in there. So because it has that kind of space, I took an interest in putting all the movie advertisements, basically, because that's what all those covers are. So when I'm done, you'll be able to go in and be like, man, I want to watch a movie. And you'll look at all the movies that are in front of you, and at the same time, there'll basically be advertisements hanging all the way down the walls of the movies. And I think that in the long run, if I can get that to work, it's going to be pretty sweet. If I can't get it to work, it's just a bunch of cardboard that I'm going to use to start fires in the backyard. It's cardboard. It doesn't serve a real purpose to me, people. It just doesn't, okay? This year has been complicated. Like always, I go across the stuff, I show the collection, I show where it's at, I show, how we developed and how different the room is every year. And of course, like this year, you saw my dog. It is what it is, guys. I hope that 2021 is better. For those of you thinking the virus is over because it's 2021 and you're like, yes, no more 2020s, 2021, we're fucking saved. No. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. The badness of a year doesn't stop because the year stopped. We don't just get a fresh do-over in 2021. All the repercussions of the shit that happened in 2020 are following us, guys. We're going to have to adapt. We're going to have to figure out our lives. We're going to have to figure out how all this works. And you know, we're not done after that, because 30 years down the road, we'll see the repercussions of what this stuff even costs, what it's done to us. Because we don't know. We don't know the after effects. We didn't know the after effects of getting chickenpox till years down the road. We don't know the after effects of getting this. And the way that it spreads, it's scary. It's scary. It's been a scary, stressful year. And I hope that, like me, you were able to fall into yourself and take what you could. If you haven't, do so. Guys, create some projects. Focus on yourself. That's another thing I didn't even talk about. This year, I went back into boxing. I know that you guys don't normally see it. Because if I stand up right now, I'm still like, I don't know if I'd call myself fat. Sure, I'm fat, whatever. I mean, I'm like, last time I weighed myself, I was like 240 pounds. I don't know if that's true anymore. Because I'm no longer a 2XL. Like, this shirt is a 2XL, and it's really some baggy shit on me. Like, it's... So, like, I've noticed that I'm fitting back into my XL shirts. Not all of them. I think it depends on, like, what brand shirt it is and whatnot. But I've also noticed that I have to have a belt. I have to have a belt. I cannot wear pants without a belt now. My 42s are too big. I may actually be down to a 40 now. This is all because I made a decision. Partway through the year, I decided, for whatever reason, I know some of my reasons. It comes down to my family suffers breathing problems, and it has some other issues too, and if I don't get some of my shit under control, I could be in trouble. So I want to make sure that I get some of my cardio done and things like that, and I wanted to get active again. And there was a part in my life when I was the most active. That was when I was doing boxing. It was the most active that I was ever. I used to go outside, I used to run. I noticed that that's not a thing that I can really do all that much anymore. And boy, when you're fucking 36 and all of a sudden it catches up to you and you realize that, like, your dog takes off down the road or something and you try to chase it and you're like, oh fuck, this is not a thing that I can do anymore. Like, it opens your eyes, okay? Like, I was getting a little out of hand. And I know that when I'm getting out of hand because I know when I'm in hand. I know when I've been taking care of myself and when I've not been taking care of myself. Because there is a big difference. So I made a decision this year that I got the boxing equipment back. I got a bag, I got a stand, I got the weight bench, I cleared out my garage for the most part, and I started practicing again. And I was surprised how much of it came back to me so quickly. I talk about it a lot in the Sentai review, but I don't often get a chance to do it. Going down to that bag and practicing by myself, it probably took me, and this is not a fast thing either. So keep in mind, my little bit of weight loss that's really starting to hit the change in my life has been a slow process. I hit the bag for a song. I would warm up, stretch, do everything, then I would hit the bag and move for one song. Then I would be tired as shit. Well, after a week or two, it was 2 songs. After a week or two, it was 3 songs. All I do is I go downstairs, I turn the radio on, I use one song to stretch, to warm up, to bounce around a little bit, and then I hit the bag. This became very interesting because after about a week of doing it, I was starting to remember all my different movements, my head movements and my downs and my outs and my snakes and my my back, my dodge backs, and I remembered the actual boxer stance, and I remembered how to actually shoot that jab into the eye, and like little things like that, and keeping my hands slightly open so that I can brace the second that I land, so it's a full turn, and you never telegraph that hit, and little things like that, and keeping my hands up and moving back and forth, and keeping my head movement, and all these things started coming back to me, and before I knew it, I was teaching again. I was teaching my daughter. Then I was helping my wife. Then my roommate, who I helped out for a very long time this year. It was not meant to be that way. It just turned out to be what it is. Sometimes people fall on hard times, and though I may have lost my cool once or twice with him, he irritated me, okay? Somebody's in your space, he irritates you from time to time. But he was my friend, and I helped him with his shit because it was the right thing to do. He needed fucking help. He's moving forward. He's back on his feet, and I feel like he's moving forward, and I feel like he got some of his mental shit off his mind too. He had a breakup with his wife. 14 fucking years came to an end. He had nowhere to go. He came to me. He also lost his job at almost the same fucking time his damn life fell apart. Sometimes people need help. Well, without realizing it, it became very interesting later on when I had some people to compare myself to, because I did start teaching. My nephew would come over, and he saw the setup, and he started getting interested, and he wanted to know, and then he started showing me some films of some backyard shit that him and his buddies had been doing. They'd been boxing in the backyard. They just got gloves, and they just go in the backyard. You could tell they're very basic. They're just kind of brawlers. They even got that thing where you see it on like TV, where they try to make a fight look cooler than it is, where the guy's got the one hand up and the other hand is way down here, and he's like kind of doing like this, and he's got that head movement, but he's got nothing guarding his actual face, and then you're fucking done, son. You're done, son. Like, so I got to see some of these videos that they were posting where the guy was just like coming up and he was like, I'm fucking like this, and he's like trying to dance, and his hands are he's never fucking guarding. Put your fucking elbows in, lift your hands, actually move, get that basic movement, look for that second, slip the jab, come across. Like, think about what you're fucking doing. Fighting is very different than what you see on television, which my background, because I have done a lot of different fighting, I have a record, okay? 13 fights, that's all it is. It's a club record, all right? But it's real fights against real people. And that's just the ones that I did for competition. Now, out of those 13 fights, I won 9, I drew once, I lost 3 times. I'm fine with that. My ego can handle losing, because I learned the hard way when I got into this shit that you're gonna fucking lose. You're going to lose. There's always somebody better than you. And one of the things that's interesting for me is when we do the Sentai review shit, and when I watch the fake fighting and I kind of laugh about it, and I know what works and what doesn't work, and when somebody is just being flashy and when that actually looks like development and interesting fight choreography to me, I have a different pattern and a way of thinking than the other guys. And bringing this back into my life has been a big thing for me. It's got me mobile again. It's got me moving again. It's got me thinking again. And I started teaching people. I taught my roommate. And as I was teaching him, it was interesting for me to see, because I know everybody starts somewhere, but it's interesting to see when I taught my daughter, when I taught my wife, when I taught my nephew, when I taught my roommate, as I'm teaching them and they're developing, it's interesting to see how their attitude changes, and especially how my daughter, how she's into fucking martial arts movies and fun brawls and whatnot on TV. She's fine with that. And now she's pointing things out where she's like, put your hands up. She's like, move. Why is his fighting style change? Like, she watched Karate Kid 1 and 2, and on the first movie she was watching, and she was like, that's a number 2. That's a 1. That's a slip. That's a good head movement. And like, she was able to point these things out in the choreography that worked and the things that didn't seem to work. She sees that now. And at the same time, on the second Karate Kid, she was like, put your hands up. Why does he fight like that? Why is his fighting style different? Because it is. In the first fighting style, he puts a hand up and he does essentially like a type of thing where he's guarding front and then he looks for that opening. I actually think it's like this, because I think this is because he's looking specifically to slip that heavy hit, that fucking pop. But she catches that now because in the second movie, all of a sudden, for no reason, no indication, no warning whatsoever, his entire fighting style changed, where all of a sudden he had this hand back and this hand forward. And he was like way crouched down, and it was way more movie fighting style. It was way more not as real. It was way more you're going to get punched in the motherfucking face. Like, because look, I don't care what he's been learning. He's not advanced enough to deal with somebody that's learned their entire life. And he went from this fighting style, which was at least basic but had some kind of principle behind it that would take care of him, to like this weird fighting style where it just didn't make sense at all. He's like, yeah, bitch. Like, so she's pointing those things out. This has been an interesting year because of me getting back into this stuff. I believe this drug the end of the video out pretty extremely. But I did want to say that was probably one of the biggest significant changes that I made this year. I did the computer, I focused on the show, but that's also, I think, a lot of my mentality for getting my drive back, for not just like sitting on the couch and whatnot, because we all do it. We all fucking do it. I still do it. I sat up here last night, literally the entire night, playing Black Desert Online. But moving and sticking and basically teaching and kind of sparring again has changed a lot of that aspect for me. And like I said, it was very interesting to see where my nephew came over and he had he had fighting experience because they were boxing, but he had zero fucking technique. And I instructed him for like 2 weeks and he went back and then he fought that other guy. And now all of a sudden they're talking about they would like to come over and learn some shit too, because like it's very different when all of a sudden you know what you're doing as opposed to you saw some cool shit on TV or you might want to try this. It is different. Being taught how to fight is not the same thing as thinking you know how to fight. It's a very different world. And I think, even though I'm not highly dedicated, I'm not going back into like fighting, but that little bitty workout, that little bitty movement, that little bitty extra thing that I'm doing, and of course I've switched a lot to water and whatnot because as I've been doing this, I need water more than I need soda, so it changed some of my eating and drinking habits as well, and I'm back down to an extra large. Like, I feel like if I continue this into next year, it's going to pay off exponentially. And I'm not going to lose who I am. I'm not going to quit gaming or anything like that, and that's what I'm getting at. You don't have to dedicate your life to something like this, but you really should, especially now when everything's closed and everything's boarded up or whatever and all this shit is happening. You need to find some self-focus. And I did, and that self-focus has really helped me this year. Finding projects to do, finding self-projects to do, such as going back into boxing and things like that. All of these things have accumulated to make what is pretty much essentially one of the worst years that I have ever lived through in my entire life. Because it is, like, a lot of fucking people are dead. That hurts me. It hurts me. I'm not kidding when I tell you that I'm a fan of Star Trek, and the part that I'm a fan of is the better vision. I want good things for people. And watching fucking hundreds of thousands of people die, it's not my favorite thing in the least. In the fucking least. But I found a self-focus this year, and it really helped me. I think it helped this channel. I think it helped the Sentai Review. I think it helped me personally, and I think it helped some of my surrounding life. So I'm telling you, even though this was a shit year, I found my own things, my own focus in this year. And all in all, I might well say that the year, for being literally the worst year that I've ever lived, I found positivity in it. It was hard to do, but I found it. And I hope that most of you did too. And if you didn't, make 2021 that year. Find your focus. Do something for you. And I'm not talking that it has to be physical. Learn something. Save up your money bit by bit and buy one of those arcade 1-up cabinets. Play on it. Do what you do. And then, if you're so inclined, I'm not exactly endorsing 100% here, but hey, if you want to learn how to do it, learn how to hack the machine and make your own game out of it. Why not? Learn editing. Learn comic book trade. Write that story that you've finally been looking to do. Do something that is your shit. A self-focus this year. 2021, it's your fucking year. It's my fucking year. It's our fucking year. Let's, instead of acting like everything is so fucking bad that this is the worst year ever and so on and so forth, and sometimes it is, but like I see things where like 2016 was the worst fucking year ever, lost so many people, and yada yada. It was nothing compared to this year, and I was able to find a positivity in this year, so I know that next year we can do the same. That's it. That's all. That's the year in review. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you saw something cool. I hope you're looking forward to something. It's not quite the same as it has been every other year, because every other year there's been a bigger room tour. There's been more stuff to talk about. But this year, for as awful as it's been, like I said, it was very self-contained, and in terms of the shows in general, it was probably a more positive year. We only had one show to focus on, and by God, we made that motherfucker work. Yeah, it's been like 30 minutes. I'm gonna get out of here.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.